I want to spend some time now talking about Jack Campbell because we kind of covered him with winners, but I think there's more to talk about with Jack Campbell because one thing I got to say about Jack is even for a rookie, his game is so mature. And you see the game slow down even from one preseason game to the next. He never looks out of position. At least with the Giants, you saw that a couple times, but he adjusted against the Jaguars. And he's a guy that, again, is always around the football. Athletically, though, you could line him up in different spots. I saw him in the slot.
Yeah, they had him split out wide, man-on-man with the running back for the Jaguars. And that's what you want to see because that was the biggest concern.
And, guys, he's 6'5", 240?
Meat missile.
And he's guarding running backs. He's covering running backs in the flat. He's guarding guys in the slot. I mean, he's all over the place. So Jack Campbell, I think, we talk about the impact he'll make, him eventually wearing the green dot. I think Jack Campbell – is as far as starting, I think he'll be starting right away, but being the best linebacker, I think by the end of the season, you're going to know, Jack Campbell is that guy for the Detroit Lions. It's very obvious to see. Now, there'll be rookie slumps and things that he has to get over, Sam, but he looks like he's ready to go.
No, I personally don't think it'll take till the end of the season. You might notice it on week 1 because the best compliment that I can give to Jack Campbell, I know that it's just preseason, but Jack Campbell in this preseason has looked like Iowa Jack Campbell out there, except he's playing, some first stringers and some second or third stringers in the NFL versus Big Ten. Jack Campbell is a heat-seeking ghost of ball carriers, to paraphrase Dance Gavin Dance. It doesn't matter who's carrying the ball, whether it's off of a catch or off of a run, Jack Campbell will find the football. He has a nose for the football, which is, I know it's a little bit cliche, which is, I don't know if I've seen anything like this in a very, very long time, since maybe DeAndre Levy when it comes to linebackers who just have a nose for the football and are a tackling machine. Jack Campbell, I am more confident now after these couple preseason games that you can basically just pencil in Jack Campbell for the next, at least for the duration of his rookie contract. He is the starting off-ball linebacker for the Detroit Lions, and I think he will be hugely impactful in the resurrection of this defense from a bottom 5 to maybe a very, very good defense this year. And Jack Campbell, I think if he continues on this trajectory and has a great rookie season like I think he will, that will most certainly happen. And I will make 2 personal guarantees right now. I know a lot of you don't like the Flannel Sam guarantees, but I think these are very, very reasonable. That's why I'm guaranteeing them. 1, Jack Campbell will 100% lead all rookies in tackles, and I don't think it'll be even close. 2, he will 100% lead the Detroit Lions team in tackles. And on week 1, you are going to see, even at Kansas City, that's a very, very tough environment, you are going to see that he is the best linebacker on the team already, because we mentioned him being good in coverage and being lined up against running backs. He has actually played more snaps in this preseason in coverage snaps than run defense snaps and pass rush snaps. And I think Jack Campbell has held his own very, very nicely because it was a bit of a concern coming out of college, but he also was pretty good in coverage in college. I think just there were a lot of, I would say, biases against Jack Campbell, which were not necessarily his fault. The fact that he was drafted number 18, the fact that he's an Iowa linebacker, the fact that he's kind of got that scrappy gym rat, all of the white defensive player stereotypes, but he's
First one in, last one out.
That's the thing,
type
though.
of guy you want to marry your daughter.
But when you look at his play on the field at Iowa in the preseason, you see how good he is, and you even see how athletic he is. He's gonna surprise a lot of people with his athleticism and his skill, kind of like a certain Lion did last year named Aiden Hutchinson. So far, to me, Jack Campbell has 100% been the MVP of the Detroit Lions preseason and the one who has stood out the most.
Yeah, Blade says having 4 starting caliber linebackers is fire. Anthony says, I'm old enough to have watched Spielman in literally every tackle pile in the 90s. Which I feel like, I don't want to say Jack Campbell will be Chris Spielman, but he does kind of seem like that type of player. Every time there's a pile up, Jack's jumping in there. He's always in there around the football.
I think Jack Campbell is one of those players where we talk about like a Devontae Adams was born to play the wide receiver position. Patrick Mahomes would play the quarterback position. I'm not saying he's going to be to that extent at the linebacker position, but Jack Campbell was put on this earth to play linebacker in the National Football League. He has all the skills to do so, has all the instincts to do so, and now he has a great coach and a good situation to perform in. I think kind of like how Aiden Hutchinson is going to hold down our defensive line for years, now we got the guy that's going to hold down the linebacker core for years, and both of them are extremely talented, hardworking, and intelligent guys, and I think we kind of got the same type of thing behind him in Brian Branch, and I'm not willing to go that far, because we still got to see both of them from Brian Branch and Jack Campbell, but we have 2 potential Pro Bowlers in their future behind Aiden Hutchinson. I think that's the beauty in it all. I think when it comes down to it, Jack Campbell is going to be the best linebacker in this class. I know a lot of us, especially, like, I'll admit it, I didn't hate the Jack Campbell pick, but for where it was at, I was like, what are we doing?
Sure.
And now I think is the moment where we get the clarity for the Lions fans that were like me, who were kind of questioning the pick, that are like, okay, this is what Brad was thinking. I trusted in Brad, but again, I couldn't really make it make sense in my mind, but now it's pretty obvious that we got one of the best players in the draft in Jack Campbell.
Jack Harrington says Sam endorsing someone equals Jinx City. Is this true, Sam?
Well, I mean, I also was higher on Aiden Hutchinson than I think anybody in this building. I know he was a number 2 overall pick, but there were some questions about him. There were some people who were like, oh my God, the Georgia game. Kayvon Thibodeau's got a higher upside. So I get some things right every once in a while. I would say more than every once in a while. You guys just need to listen up a little bit and not just magnify my mistakes.
Well, I'll say this about the whole conversation around Jack in this linebacker room, because I agree with what people are saying, and Hoofhearted also commented this, and I can't find the comment. Oh, there you go. Last offseason, we thought we had 0 starting caliber linebackers. Now we feel like we have 4, which, it's a good problem to have. I wouldn't say they're all, anyone's a lead or anything like that, but you got 4 solid guys.
Yeah, I would say you got 4 solid guys that pretty much, I think Jack Campbell's obviously the most talented one, but if something happens to Jack where he misses a couple games, something happens to Anzalone, misses a couple of games, etc. with Derek Barnes and Malcolm Rodriguez, you have a guy that's damn near the same skill level filling in for him. I think as the years go on, Jack Campbell will separate himself, but year 1 as a rookie, I think it's a great situation to have. The Lions don't have a stellar linebacker room, but they definitely have a solid one.
So at least the question I have, and I'll ask you, Sam, and then I'll go to Lucas on this. For Jack Campbell, how far can he or will he, or maybe he is right now, but separate himself from the rest of this linebacker core? Because there's question, Derek Barnes looks better than he did last year. Malcolm Rodriguez, we know how solid he is. Alex Anzalone is a guy that the coaching staff trusts, but what's the path for Jack Campbell to kind of rise to the top among these linebackers?
All right, so I think at the beginning of the year, obviously, it's his. I think he's going to separate himself from the beginning as the best linebacker on this team. I'd say the difference between Jack Campbell and the rest of them, obviously, Malcolm Rodriguez looked very good last year. He had a very good game against Jacksonville. You see Derek Barnes is ascending, and Alex Anzalone had a career year last year. You know what they aren't that Jack Campbell is? Jack Campbell is a supreme talent. He was one of those guys that was put on earth to play linebacker, and I think some of the growing pains he might experience some in the beginning of the year, but by the end of the season, I think he will clearly separate himself as the best linebacker on this team, almost to the point where you are going to want to put a green dot right here on his helmet. I think it's going to be, at the beginning, he's going to be the best of all of them. But at the end of the year, you're going to be like, Jack Campbell is like the linchpin of this defense. Your starting off-ball linebacker for at least the duration of his rookie contract, and there's going to be no doubt that anybody can take his position.
What about you, Lucas? What do you think? How far can he ascend, or how quickly can he ascend to the top?
From the other linebackers
Yes.
I mean, I think Jack Campbell has all the potential to be a top tier linebacker in this league, so take that where you want it. I think all of these guys besides Jack Campbell have very high floors with low ceilings. Jack Campbell has a high floor and extremely high ceiling. So when you talk about it, Jack Campbell has the potential, and I'm not discarding Aiden Hutchinson, but I'm just saying as far as the production that you get out of him, a guy that's going to get 100 plus tackles as we expect, he has the potential to be the face of this defense as well with Aiden Hutchinson. So when it really comes down to it, Jack Campbell he's, in my opinion, definitely going to take over the linebacker room as far as being the most talented linebacker, probably by the end of the season, if not clearly in the next. And he has the potential to be the most talented player on this defense just with his natural skill set and size and his IQ to diagnose the plays. So I think he's going to be one of those guys where before the play, we are going to see Jack Campbell moving everywhere, kind of like how Luke Kuechly did, adjusting the defense, getting him in the right spots. And that's what's going to make Jack Campbell so vital, because not only is he going to be good, but he's going to make everyone around him so much better just because of the football player that he is and the things that he knows about football.
And I'll say this about Jack Campbell. I do think he'll be starting next to Anzalone, but Anzalone to me will be linebacker 1 this year. Now this is a lot of experience that Jack Campbell can kind of take in and learn next to Anzalone. I think he'll have the green dot, obviously, but next year, and the year after that, like, it's Jack Campbell time. As the years go on, Anzalone's not getting any younger. Jack is only going to get better. So I think this year he'll be kind of groomed along. He'll play a lot. I don't think he won't play. Clearly he's going to play a lot. He'll even start. But I think Anzalone's going to be linebacker 1 this year, and then as time goes on, it'll be Jack Campbell's time. But they got a stud. I'm not saying that he won't start this year or anything like that, but they did re-sign Anzalone, and he still is kind of their best linebacker.
Well, I think that is more technicality. I think Alex Anzalone might have the title as linebacker 1, and obviously he has more experience. But I just think you're going to see from week 1 on that Jack Campbell is the better player. And I'm not saying this as a shot against Alex Anzalone. I think what he did last year was very, very good and commendable. But that is his ceiling. Mm-hmm. His ceiling is mid, by definition mid. Yeah. I know mid has kind of become a derogatory term, but by definition it means you're a middle of the pack linebacker, which he was last year, maybe even a little below middle of the pack, but still his ceiling is mid. Jack Campbell's ceiling is certainly not mid. Is he going to hit it this year? Probably not, but it wouldn't shock me if he comes close to it by the end of the year, and then maybe even surpasses the ceiling at some point, which we even think he has. I mean, Lucas, you're talking about him maybe being the face of this defense someday.
He could be. I mean, I'm not saying it's a fucking guarantee, but if there's like we talk about impact on the game, stopping the run, stopping the pass, that's what Aiden Hutchinson does, and that's what Jack Campbell's going to be in a position to do, because Jack Campbell is also an amazing blitzer. And I think what we discredit about this is Jack Campbell's strengths as a player, even in his rookie season, are what a lot of the Lions' defense's weaknesses were, as far as sniffing out screens, stopping the plays before they get past the line of scrimmage. Jack Campbell, even if he's not the one making the tackle, he's going to take on a block or allow Rodriguez and Anzalone, all those things that the Lions needed, Jack Campbell brings from the linebacker unit. I think he's just overall just a safer player to have on the field, and he's without a doubt the most athletic player in that linebacker room.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think upside, right, potential, size, definitely. But he checks all the boxes. The only thing I think the Lions would be worried about is his inexperience. I don't know if you want, Jack Campbell being linebacker 1, this year. But again, I'm not going to argue with any of the facts you guys are bringing up about Jack. It's exciting, to say the least. I think he'll be out there immediately, and I can't wait to watch this dude. And Hoofhearted made a great point as well, comparing him to Aiden. He says Campbell will likely be Hutch of last season. First half of the season, he was okay, learning, and blew up the second half of the season. I could see a similar trajectory from Jack Campbell.
I don't know, though, because
Sam, no one's saying he's going to be second in Defensive Player of the Year.
No.
We're just saying that the trajectory. He's going to struggle, but then be very, very good.
You actually didn't know where I was going with that. I think Jack Campbell will actually acclimate himself quicker than Aiden Hutchinson, because Aiden Hutchinson, you remember what he had to walk into last year. He was supposed to be the savior of a defense, which the previous year was terrible. We had no idea that 4 rookies would make a huge impact, but that's what Aiden Hutchinson was tasked with. Jack Campbell, he's coming to a defense in which he could be one of the missing pieces of one that goes from, as a whole, being bad last year, but definitely improving down the stretch, to being a very, very good defense. I don't know if he will ever be as impactful as Aiden Hutchinson as a whole, but I think he will definitely acclimate himself quicker, mainly because of the situation and because Jack Campbell is just one of the smartest football players coming out of college. I think the Lions have drafted in like 5 to 10 years.
Well, here's this comment, though. Chuck Brewer says, disagree. Edge rushers just go. Linebackers have to read and react, which is also a great point.
That's the thing where it's like, to Flannel's point, we've seen Jack Campbell do exactly that consistently through this preseason, and I understand that it's going to take, obviously, some time for him to fully come into form, but what you see week 1, he's not going to have a tackle in his face every time where he's going to have to learn how to get off this tackle. Now he's going to be able to read the gap and now just use his natural ability to get through the gap, and there's going to be a guy that's probably not as big as him. They're not 6'5", 230, whatever Jack Campbell is, and it's just through the preseason you have watched him. If anything, he's kind of over-pursued instead of under-pursuing, and that's what you'd rather see, because it's going to turn him to the inside where there's more help. And I just think Jack Campbell, I understand that, it's going to take some time. But then again, this is exactly why people were excited at the draft pick, if you were. I understand a lot of people here were questioning it, but Jack Campbell's a linebacker you can plug in on day 1, and he will be able to hold his own.
There might be those times, though, like week 1 against Andy Reid's offense, where he's a little, he's going to be confused. And it's the first team offense, right? Like this Kansas City offensive line, one of the better offensive lines in the league. He hasn't faced an offensive line like that with the Giants second stringers and the Jags second stringers. It'll be an adjustment period, but we all agree, man, Jack Campbell, he's that dude. No question about it.